The world received sad news yesterday. Pele, the Brazilian king of football and one of the most legendary sports figures of all time, died Thursday at the age of 82. A funeral is planned for Monday and Tuesday, with his casket to be carried through the streets of Santos. That's the coastal city where his storied career began. His career accomplishments, they speak for themselves. Nearly a goal per match in his 1,300-game career. 77 goals for his home country, tied for the most with Neymar. He is the only player to win 3 World Cups, only 17 years old when he won his first in that tournament, scored a hat trick, also scored a goal in the World Cup final. Reactions from all around the world, including in his home country, Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, lit in Brazil's national colors. His club that he spent most of his early years, Santos, sharing this on social media. Around the world as well, at Wembley Stadium, the arch lit in the honor of Pele as well. And here in America, President Joe Biden, for a sport that brings the world together like no other, Pele's rise has, from humble beginnings to soccer legend, is a story of what is possible. Today, Jill and I's thoughts are with his family and all those who loved him. With that, we say hello. Glad you're with us today. Ahmed Fareed here with Danny Higginbotham before West Ham and Brentford. We will get to that, but we start with the big news around the world, the death of Pele. You can make the argument that there is no one person who had a bigger effect on the sport than this man right here.
100%. Obviously, he was well before my time, before my era. But when you speak to people that aren't necessarily in love with football or it's not one of their top sports, the first name they always mention is Pele. You know, he was a global icon. He changed the face of the game. He made it fun. 3 World Cups, the youngest player to ever win the World Cup, the youngest player to ever score in a World Cup final. And you've heard so many times over the last 24 hours, really, is that he did it first. And I was watching a video yesterday, and it had Messi, Zidane, Ronaldo, some of the greatest players of my generation, doing all of these different tricks. And then every time it showed them doing a trick, they rewound the clock to when Pele was playing, and he was doing these tricks already. And the one thing that stood out to me with Pele, when you speak to people and when you see these video clips, is that flair players didn't get protection a long time ago, especially in Pele's era. And he dealt with it. The pitches resembled more mud baths, but he still floated above the surface. And when you listen to people, when you read interviews, you hear about, yes, this unbelievable football, the greatest ever player. But people talk about how humble he was. And one of the things that stood out to me, I watched one of his interviews from a while ago, and he said, I think that the secret to success is to respect people, to be prepared always, and never, never think you are the best. And that sums him up as an individual. He's not just the greatest footballer of all time, but arguably one of the greatest ever human beings as well.
And as you mentioned, he's been influencing footballers for years and years. He's been influencing footballers for 60-some years on the pitch and influenced some of the players and the greats that we just saw in the most recent World Cup. Leo Messi sharing this on Instagram. Rest in peace to Pele. And the French international Kylian Mbappe also sharing his thoughts on Twitter. Pele, an all-time great on the pitch, passionate off of it as well. The world mourns his passing.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.